I request everyone to please put their phone on silent. Dehradun and forests have an intimate connection, and the FRI campus is the organic link where all the Forest Service officers are trained and which is now the hub of all the forestry education in our country. We have the author, Ruchi Singh, describing the journey of an IFS officer who really invests his professional life in the service of the jungle and all the species that live in and around the jungle. The chair for the session is Distinguished Forest Service Officer Sushil Kumar Avasthi, and the moderator is Surbhi Sapra, an entrepreneur by profession and an adventurer, passionate wildlife and bird photographer, nature enthusiast, personal blogger, and a podcaster. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me and welcome this trio on the stage. Ma'am.
Good afternoon, everybody. A warm welcome to this wonderful session. Uh, I'd like to just give a few more words of introduction to our speaker, Mr. Sushil Kumar Avasthi. He is an Indian Forest Service officer from the 1991 batch from the UP cadre, and he's presently posted as the additional director, Indira Gandhi National Forest Academy, Dehradun. He has an extensive experience of working in the state and the central government in and outside the forest department. He has been in the service on the field of forestry for almost 18 years now. Okay, this said 18 years, I'm so sorry, for 30 years. Please pardon me, extremely sorry. He specializes in wildlife management issues in and outside protected areas, including conflict management, forest certification, and urban forestry. Welcome, sir. Also, Dr. Ruchi Singh, who's launching her book today, Call of the Jungle. This is the life of an IFS officer. Ma'am has done, this is not her first book, she has launched many books. She has done, for 28 years, she has been extensively touring the Indian jungles along with her husband, Mr. Anup Singh, who is also an officer in the Indian Forest Service, and she hails from Prayagraj. She is a topper in history from the University of Allahabad, and she has a doctorate in research on the sacred complex of Prayagraj and postdoctorate study on Buddhist studies. She has launched many books on Hinduism, on the Kumbh Mela, and many, many more. Today we are here to talk about her book, Call of the Jungle. This is the life of an IFS officer. Before we start the discussion on the book, sir, would you please say a few words on the book?
Yeah, thank you so much, Surabhi. The book, Call of the Jungle, Journey of an IFS Officer, as a few words spoken by my friend over there. He spoke about Dehradun, the importance of Dehradun in the world of forestry. We call Dehradun as the Mecca of forest because there's so many things here. And we all residents of Dehradun know very well. So there could be no better place to release this book, which the title of the book goes like Call of the Jungle, Journey of an IFS Officer. This book, I must congratulate the author, Dr. Ruchi Singh, for this wonderful, I would say, the ultra-real fiction It has been written in a fictional style, but this is actually based on the life of a forest officer. She has taken a lot of, you can say, anecdotes from here and there, and they all are very, very close to reality. I got a chance to read the book also before coming to this function. So this book starts with an IFS probationer, a trainee IFS officer, because we have a academy over here in Dehradun. So it starts with a trainee IFS officer, that how the character in the book, Naomi, she actually, how she's doing and how the things are unfolding before her. And from the first chapter, if you start reading, is Tokena? Okay. If you start reading the first chapter, where the IFS probationer's life is depicted, and afterwards, the entire career of an IFS officer is summarized in this book in a very, very lucid manner. So lots of congratulations to Dr. Ruchi Singh for this wonderful work. And this captivating thing, I think she has ventured into an area which is something very mesmerizing also, very mesmerizing, and lot of things have been capped in the book, which makes a very, very interesting read.
Thank you, sir. Arane tet prithvi sayo namastu. The forest is earth's delight. When you start a book with this note, it is very difficult to put it down before completing it. Ma'am, many, many congratulations for this fantastic book, Call of the Jungle, Journey of an IFS Officer. It is not just a gripping story of a lady IFS officer, but it is full of emotions and it is relatable to each age group. So that is wonderful. And the best part about this book is that it is the first of its kind. I believe there are not too many books on IFS officers, leave alone lady IFS officers. So what got you started and what got you to write this book?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Rabi. Thank you, sir. So I'm very pleased to be here. A warm welcome to all of you, and thanks for coming for this session. Now, as you said about this book, actually my background, as she has introduced, it's basically history, religious history. I was in Andhra Pradesh, Hyderabad to be exact, North Telangana, and I used to teach there. Then 2 years back, my husband, who is an Indian Forest Service officer, he got posted here, he joined here as Director General Forest Survey of India. So we relocated to Dehradun. So after coming here, I had given up teaching, I was not teaching. Now I've been a very passionate wildlifer with my husband. I've been touring various parts of Indian jungles, north, south, all the parts. So here I went to the bookshops and I was looking for books on wildlife, forests. So one thing which struck me was there are lots of books. There are books by NGOs on wildlife and all. But on the Indian Forest Service, I could not find any comprehensive book. There are books on IAS officers, the job career profile of IAS officers, IPS officers. But though the Forest Service these days, environment, it is very relevant. Means it has always been relevant, but especially you see so much interest in it, the Forest Service, and they do such good work, but it is mostly untalked for. And often the NGOs, they are critical about the work, though from the insider's view, we don't have any work. So I brought it upon myself to bring out a book which brings from the insider's view of an Indian Forest Service officer. Though I myself am not in the IFS, but I've been accompanying my husband, and then Dehradun, as sir said, this is the mecca for IFS officers. We have so many forestry related organizations here. We have Forest Research Institute, ICFRE, which is the governing body, and which was recently headed by Ms. Kanchan Devi. She's the first lady IFS officer to head this. So like that, here we had interaction. I had interaction with many IFS officers. So talking to them, I get to know about the exploits and all. I thought it will be better that I write something about it. So I wrote this book.
I think it was high time a book about the IFS officers was coming. And thank you, ma'am, for getting it out for us. Ma'am, your book has a lot of contributions from real-life IFS officers. Miss Suvarna, Miss Satoisha. Miss Abharna, who apparently was a protagonist for the movie Sherni,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
played by
Huh.
Vidya Balan.
Yeah.
And of course, our very own, should I say, heroine, Miss Kanchan Devi ji, who is the first woman DG of ICFRE. It must make you so proud to know these people personally.
Definitely. They're very inspiring.
I'm sure, I'm sure. Sir, my question is for you that in the first chapter of the book, we see that the chief protagonist, Naomi, she's undergoing IFS training at the IGNFA, which is the Indira Gandhi National Forest Academy. Uh, can you enlighten us about the training which these probationers go through, and the kind of the hardships that they go through, or what extent of training is, what do they go through basically?
Actually, I have had a long career in training institution. Spent around 12 years now. Although I come from Uttar Pradesh cadre, but as it happened, I had a, you can say, liking about the training thing, so I continued to in this training institutions for long years. Actually, the IFS training is, as you can see, the forest and environment field in which an IFS officer has to work is quite challenging, and it's quite multidimensional also. It's not that you attain knowledge in a certain field like wildlife or forestry or something like that, and the work is done. It's not. Actually, if you compare the training of an IFS officer with that of an Indian administrative officer, service officer, like IAS and police service officer, you will find that the training period of an IFS officer is quite big. It's 16 months in the academy. And after that also, there are 4 months in the on-the-job training, and plus 3 months in Mussoorie with the foundation course people. So it is, in all, it is 2 years. And the 2 years have been kept very, very deliberately, because the kind of knowledge which we want him to attain, the kind of techno-scientific things which he has to acquaint himself with, is quite challenging. So this training, and second important part which actually depicted in this book, is the practical part of the training. So whenever the chief protagonist, Naomi, if you read this book, you will find that she faces many challenges. It could be wildlife. She encounters a tiger in wild, and that's a very, very challenging situation. I must congratulate the author again, because being a wife of an IFS officer, but she must have been a very, very keen observationist herself, because she has brought out those things very lucidly, in a very natural way and very conversational way. So this is the beauty of this book. And the IFS officer, when he's faced with certain challenges in the field of like forest protection, some mafias are there, how to deal with them with limited resources in the forest. It's not that you are in a city and you can call any help out there. You are in a forest condition, very, very difficult to get help over there. So there are many situations where and the third thing, which is the most important thing, is a character. Character means you have to lead your team. You have many people, but if the limited resources are limited, and you are in a deep forest-like situation, and in case you cannot call up for help also, then how do you lead, and how do you keep the morale of your people high, so that you deal with those situations very, very effectively? So chapter after chapter, because the book goes into a very sequential manner, that the chief protagonist enter the service. Those are her first days when she is in academy. Then she goes on and becomes the attached officer in the division. Then she becomes the divisional forest officer, which is called the DFO, then the conservator, and then so on and so forth. So this is like a, you can say, a very captivating journey of an IFS officer. And the this character, this Naomi, she deals with those situations very perfectly. Probably I wouldn't find any person dealing with all these situations in such an effective manner. But because this book has to be there in a very ideal manner, it has to be presented before the readers. So the author has taken care that this character deals with all situations in a very idealistic manner, very, very perfect manner. And that actually comes out of the foundation which is laid here in this academy, where we not only deal with the techno-scientific part, we also deal with the practical part of the training also, and prepare the probationers. We call them probationers here because they are on a probation for 2 years, to handle all the situations which might emerge in times to come before them. So this is the test of character also.
So, but tell me, I understand that the training is very tough and they are put through a lot of things, but how do you kind of judge that the IFS officer is ready to take on? Because there's so much. There's poaching, there's timber smuggling, the struggles and the hardships are endless, and ma'am has put them in the book beautifully. But how do you decide that, yes, the IFS officer is now ready to take up all the challenges and, the degree is granted?
Actually, being an academy, we have very tough standards for any person who enters into the service and after that passes out from the academy. So there are very, very tough standards. There are a very continuous assessment system is also there. And even at the end of it, you can say we do the training in 4 terms. So there are terminal examinations also, those are written examinations, those are some snap tests also. They are also in a way that actually this training is multifaceted, multidimensional, as I said. So we also keep a dimension of law, because we ourselves are not experts. So we also collaborate with multiple institutions. Multiple institutions, if I have to name a few, the prominent ones are the National Law School, Bangalore. They come and they do the environmental law part for us.
Okay.
For 3 weeks they are here. If it comes to like policing and all, which a forest officer is supposed to do, so we take help of National Police Academy, Hyderabad. So they do those kind
Because
of
it's very
courses for
important
us.
to work in tandem with all the
Yeah.
other organizations as well.
Yes.
So
yes.
yes, I understand that is very
Yes.
important.
So
But they undergo some field training also before they actually.
They undergo even the jungle survival training, which
excellent.
a army
Okay.
officer is supposed to do. So
Okay.
we send them out for a week, and
Right.
that is basically jungle survival. So it is you can say hardening of all sorts.
Wow.
And the tours are also there, no? Like
The tours are
they
also there.
get
Practical
exposure.
practical training is also
Okay,
there, and there
okay.
in 16 months period, there's almost 100 days of touring.
Wow.
So in 100 days of touring, you get to meet all field officers there.
And all the
Wonderful.
national parks, sanctuaries, they'll be visiting, getting first
Yeah.
hand.
So it's not just glitter and glam, it's a lot of hard work and a lot of,
Hard work,
yeah.
lot of hard work, and they are continuously assessed on that. And at the end of it, if they do it all successfully, they are given a diploma of Forest College here, or you can say IGNFA, which is now called, and that is treated equivalent to MSc Forestry
Okay,
degree.
wonderful, all right.
Even swimming, horse riding, shooting, everything. No? So
There is a lot. I think, I think we
I
don't
think,
have
yeah,
that
no,
much
because
time.
actually no, this is normally these proceedings are telecast on social media.
Your book covers a lot of, insights of Naomi's life, right? She is, there are challenges, there's struggles, there's trauma, there's joy, there's success. It's a lot of emotions, right? And beautifully put across. But I feel that it's not just the IFS officer. It is also the immediate family that stay with the IFS officer, maybe wives, daughters, any family member who are also put through a lot of problems, given, okay, they also put through a lot of difficulties, especially given poor medical conditions, connectivity, or, hygiene level, personal safety. There are a lot of things that even the family faces. How much of you as a wife of an IFS officer is there in Naomi?
Okay. Yeah, Surabhi.
I don't think it's just
That's a very good question, Surabhi. So I'll break it into few parts. One thing first, for the portion that when you said that the family also faces the brunt, because the postings are in remote areas, often very remote areas. Nowadays, connectivity has improved, but when I got married, that was in 1995. Just excuse me, just remove this. 1995. So the connectivity was also not there. Having said that, I'll say when I got married before this, I'm a daughter of an IPS officer. So since my childhood, I've been used to staying in remote places, and I knew the tough life which these officers they face. Whether this is IPS
But ma'am,
officers.
there are other wives or daughters or sisters or whoever they're staying with IPS officers who may not be from such backgrounds.
Yeah, so it takes
So,
time to adjust. So it is tough. And secondly, I did not like feel it like a hardship because I'm a very passionate about wildlife. So actually, I involved staying in the remote places, visiting the forests. So that was fun.
But I think the pressure that comes, those kind of like threat calls are coming or other things are happening. I don't know if I was there, I might have just run away.
No,
I
like
don't know.
you said, like how it means how is the wife is affected. So I'll tell you, when I got married in 1995, my husband was posted as sub DFO for a place called Asifabad. It is in Andhra Pradesh, now Telangana. That time it was undivided Andhra Pradesh. So we reached there middle of the night around 12 o'clock. Power was not there. It was an old colonial bungalow. And when we reached there some person was standing. We had gone in a jeep. There was some information that some smuggling information in the nearby forest. So Anup is here also. He'll vouch, means I'm telling you, it is in the book also. So he just left. He said, okay, this is your house. You make your. I was newly married, around 1 week of marriage. First time coming in Andhra Pradesh, knowing not a bit of Telugu, which was the local language. Interior Andhra Pradesh. He said, okay, this is the house. One Bangla watcher was there who did not know any Hindi. I did not know any Telugu. And light is not there. One torch was there. He said, okay, you make yourself comfortable. I have to go some information. Anyway, he had been away for the marriage for the leave. He said, my work is suffering and all that. So I said, okay. So I went inside. I went inside first. I went to the washroom. So in the bucket, this thing, a scorpion the house had been locked up for a long time. It was floating anyway. The Bangla watcher said, don't go in the lawn. Snake is there. Snakes are there. And for a decoration piece, he might still remember, on the boundary wall, the cobra snakes, they shed their skin. So for decoration purpose, I don't know whether it was for decoration or what, one long cobra skin, it was on the wall. And he had very proudly, earlier only he had told me, see, when you go there, I'll show it to you. So, and so that was the...
What a warm welcome, I would say, to a new bride.
That was the welcome I got. Then over the years, there have been many instances, one or two I'd like to mention. One was when we were in Tirupati. So Bangalore, it is those who have visited Tirumala, just the foothills, the Tirupati and Reserve Forest of Bangalore was there. So it was dense forest. That time I have got two sons. They were very small. Younger one was around 2.5, 3 years. Elder one was 6 years old. So our predecessor, his children, the leopard used to frequent that campus. So his children, they had been going out along with the dog, and the leopard had come to attack them. They were a bit older, teenagers. So the leopard, it had taken away the dog, Mr. Chaudhary, who is now here settled in Uttarakhand only. So he has a resort here, I think. So his children, the leopard came, they were so frightened, but luckily the leopard did not attack the children. He took away the dog. The dog got killed. So in that situation, now we landed and our kids were even smaller. So he contacted local people. One zoo, this cage was put. And eventually the leopard was captured and it was relocated to another, means they went in the forest. There's a procedure. When you read the book, there are many instances, similar instances like this.
I believe one of your children was also abducted by your own
Yeah,
help.
that was another incident. That is one of the most, I'll say, memorable incidents, a bit frightful. Anup was DFO Nirmal at that time. So that time, that area was infamous for lots of timber smuggling. It was cut in the forest, and it was smuggled to neighboring districts and neighboring Maharashtra also. So he came down heavily on it, and so once he was attacked by the politician and his goons, and he had a narrow scope of his life. And soon after, our elder son, he went missing. We thought he had been kidnapped, and the staff went out searching for. Luckily, he was saved. So that were tough times. We got police protection also, but again, it's part of life. Now we look back on it, all experiences.
Difficult, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So
okay.
hats off to you for, having gone through all that, braved it, and
You're
writing a
just
book on
going-
it. So it's like,
So actually, I wanted to present this facet in my book because you see, like as I said, if you go in the books, yeah, there are lots of books on wildlife, but what you mainly get is NGO's point of view. And like we have been over the years in actual forest. Here now people mainly visit the these sanctuaries. They are nice, but you see it's now so crowded. But actual forest, especially the ground forest staff, they are so devoted, and in such tough situations, you can ask him, means they are such, they don't have any infrastructure, and still with a stick, and especially in Andhra Pradesh, they don't get guns because it's Naxalite infested. So they have threat from Naxalites. They don't give guns to the staff. So only with a stick and torch, they'll be walking on foot in the remote forest. Lady forest guards also guards. So many officers are there, they'll watch for it. So it's, yeah, it's tough.
sir, my question is for you. We read a lot about human-animal conflict, and Uttarakhand being so rich in forestry, or tell us something about it and how to deal with it, or
Yes. First of all, I would compliment Ruchi for bringing out all those bizarre and exciting experiences in a very lucid manner in the book. It makes a very, very interesting reading. Although, and you are right saying that the books which have been written earlier are of very technical nature. So if I give it to a person who has no forestry background, so it's very difficult for him or her to understand them well.
Actual work of a
Unless
forest
you
officer.
have a very, very deep
Yeah.
interest into the forestry or wildlife or environment or such field. So this book is actually any layman, if you just read the first page, and I'm sure that would like to read the last page also after that. So this is it. Ma'am, you asked that how about the human-wildlife conflict? Actually, what has happened over the years, the conservation, or you can say the legislation in our country which pertains to the field of wildlife and its conservation has gone very, very tough. And secondly, the people, if I take the example of the character in this book, has been very, very hardworking, very religious about her work. So the conservation, the goals of conservation have been very nicely met. So if you have very good protection and you are conserving the wildlife very well, it's quite natural that you will have access of it very soon. So, but on the other side, we have the human populations also growing. So when the human populations are growing and these animals would like to foray into those areas because of various reasons. One of the reason is they want food, and the
we are
food is
living in
easy.
their space.
Yeah, we are
and,
living in
yeah.
their space. So there's a kind of clash of that particular thing. So the human-wildlife conflict, or you can say the interface, is a reality now. And we have to find some ways, although it had been entrusted to the forest department to deal with this particular problem. And there are certain animals which take a prime space when it comes to these kind of conflicts. The leopard is one. So the leopards are found almost everywhere now. In the book also, it is found on the top of the cupboard. So that is quite possible. That is quite possible because I was conservator Meerut, and I found the leopard sitting at almost unbelievable places. Sometimes in the children's hospital, sometimes in like somebody's backyard or places like that. In FRI campus also it is found, but for FRI campus we cannot blame that poor animal because that is the forest itself.
Actually, we're just going on and on. Construction is so much. Schools are
Yes.
coming up. Other, houses, residential colonies. Now we have hotels and restaurants, and it's just going
Absolutely.
on and on. So the poor
Absolutely.
animals, they also have to find a place to stay.
Absolutely,
They also have to
absolutely,
survive. So
absolutely. So
agreed.
if you are
agreed,
conserving them, you have to find some space also
True.
for them.
Agreed. Ma'am, would you like to read something from the book?
Yeah, sure.
Or we can.
Okay, just brief. One thing, like the foreword of this book was written by an senior IFS officer, Mr. Arijit Banerjee, who is a PCCF in Rajasthan. So what he has said about the book, I'll just read it. The call of the jungle has that underlying sense of romance, that hint of adventure, those moments of frustration, and that feeling of fulfillment that impacts anyone who has spent their careers in the field of conservation. And little bit I'll like to read from the book. So in this, the main character Naomi, she has been sent to Corbett Tiger Reserve, and they're trying to capture a man-eater tigress. So it's that portion which I'm just a small extract I'm reading. It was wonderful being back in the jungles of the Himalayan Tarai, and Corbett Tiger Reserve was Naomi's favorite. She, along with the veterinary doctor and forest staff, crisscrossed the core area of the reserve in the open jeep, hot on the trail of the man-eating tigress, sighted her twice, but not close enough to shoot the dart. The call of the langur and the barking deer guided them in tracking her, but dusk was fast approaching. As soon as the sun disappeared in a saffron blurb in the amber horizon, which was interspersed with dark clouds, the dusk suddenly turned to night. Clouds had been gathering over the horizon, and then the thunderstorm struck with a vicious force, lashing suddenly with a blinding flash of lightning and rolling thunder. The water was pouring so heavily on the windscreen of the jeep that visibility was reduced to barely a meter. Naomi and the forest staff tried to pull the jeep terraplane over them, but the strong wind was blowing it over, and it became an impossible task, and they were soon drenched to the bone and had to shout to make themselves heard to each other. Soon after crossing a narrow stream, which had earlier been shallow but was now a torrent of water, their jeep got stuck in mud and slush. The engine spluttered a few times before dying down completely. The situation looked grim. They were stuck in the core area of the Corbett Tiger Reserve in the dead of the night, with a hungry man-eating tigress prowling somewhere close by, who had the upper hand now, and she could see in the darkness while they couldn't. Added to it was the threat of wild elephants, sloth bear, leopards, snakes, and scorpions. So like this is one of the excerpts from the book. So it means that Naomi has many exciting adventures, whether actually they are based on real life adventures, quite a lot from my husband's career, quite some of them from other IFS officers which I've seen, whether it is with the timber smugglers or coral smugglers or about tiger corridor, Olive Ridley turtle hatchling. So many things are there, so if someone reads the book.
It's beautifully put, it's simple language, very gripping and amazingly put. I urge each of you to please purchase this book, Call of the Jungle, Journey of an IFS Officer. The books are available outside, and you can get them signed by the author also. Again, I would like to congratulate you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And can I please request you for the launch of the book, please? Yes, can we please have ma'am, Ms. Kanchan Devi on the stage, please? And I would also like to call Sir Mr. Anup Singh on the stage. And Sir, would please, it will be a pleasure.
We have a director in Institute of Petroleum, Dr. Anjan Ray, with us. He's retired now, and he has been an old friend of mine. Sir, kindly come on the stage.
From now, cameras will also capture the sound. And then I'm sure the applause will be loud. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity for this.
It has indeed been a pleasure to listen to this fascinating conversation, which has given us a rare insight into the making of a Forest Service officer. The IFS is an all-India service and does phenomenal job in preserving the environment and managing the human-animal conflict. Now, I would request Mrs. Kanchan Devi, IFS, who's currently serving as the first female DG, ICFRE, to please felicitate the panelists for the session. And last but not the least, if you would like to contribute to the festival, please scan the wow code at any one of the locations. All the donations are acknowledged and benefited under the Income Tax Act.